Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special edition of the Money Mondays podcast where we cover 3 core topics: how to make money, how to invest money, how to give it away to charity. But today's episode, we're only going to talk about how to give it away to charity. I want to focus on philanthropy because right now I'm in the midst of hosting the 12th annual world's largest toy drive. Trina's Kids Foundation was started 12 years ago, and at first there was just 8 volunteers on the floor, wrapping up toys for children. Then we had around 21 volunteers, then 30 or 40 volunteers, and we just kept growing year after year. We added another city, doing Salt Lake City in years 8 and 9. And then on the 10th year, for the 10th anniversary, I decided to go crazy and do 10 toy drives, 10 cities over the course of a 3-week period. Well, last year on year 11, I was addicted. I saw the children's faces. We were giving out thousands and thousands and thousands of toys per city, and I decided I wanted to do it again. And this year, the 12th year, we're doing it again because I can't even imagine not going back and physically into these cities giving out toys. I'm literally here in Tampa, Florida, for our second toy drive, filming this podcast live for you right this second. Why? Why is it so important? Charity is super, super important for different aspects. One, there's an emotional and moral aspect that's up to you to decide for yourself. What matters to you? What types of charities do you care about? Does someone in your family or friend circle, have they been impacted by something that you could help? Meaning breast cancer, homelessness, autism, hunger. There's so many things, there's so many different categories for charity. There's no one main category. There's so many different aspects. But sometimes charity has a bad stigma because people think the financial part of it, the money part of it, obviously we're here on the Money Mondays, so let's talk bluntly about it, that not all of the money goes to the cause. That's true. On some charities, some philanthropy, there's a big overhead or a big office or a big staff, and some of them actually need that. Others, some of them may take advantage of it. But for the most part, the general good of charity is super important, and we've watched how impactful it can be. Are there bad actors? Are there people that could take from charities or steal from charities or not be efficient? Of course. And we've seen that sometimes on a grand scale. However, that's never going to stop me. And it's also part of what empowered me and made me passionate about doing charities is I run this myself. For the first decade, I really didn't even have people donating. I never really posted or asked people to donate. For the first decade of doing these toy drives, I was just pushing myself as hard as I could, spending a ton of money, 6 figures a year, sometimes over $1 million a year, to supply these toys, flights, hotels, warehouses, venues, shipping, etc. So myself and the co-founder, Vince Ritchie, we've just been super passionate about the charity side. Now, however, charity is not just about money. You can do it with your time, energy, social media power. You can help charities in different ways. There's a ton of charity work that you can do from volunteering, which costs nothing. And back to the point about why is it important for families or offices or businesses or like the brand or inside of you, why to do it? Because you could inspire people, whether it's your children, your parents, your friends, coworkers, or siblings. You could inspire and showcase to your vendors, clients, customers, partners, investors, etc., showcasing to them the charity that you care about, the efforts that you have, bringing them together, bringing morale, bringing loyalty, building a company culture, having your family closer together, having your city and community closer together. Those are the things. Like, you're going to hear me a little all over the place because I'm so passionate about this topic. I'm literally right this second about to drive over to the venue for our second of 10 toy drives. So let me explain. The world's largest toy drive, and then I'm going to use actual cases from it to talk about the money, finances, execution of it, so that you could host a toy drive in your own city. You could host a Thanksgiving food drive yourself. You could host something to raise money for mental health or autism or diabetes, cancer, leukemia. There's so many there's an unlimited amount of different topics that all need money, time, and energy. Your help, your efforts can literally change the world. That's why I post about charity so much. That's why this whole episode is going to be all about charity, is because you can physically change someone's life. Sometimes people think, oh, you're just, feeding them a meal or you're just giving them some supplies, or you're just giving them some toys. The butterfly effect of that is staggering, and we're going to get into it. Okay, so the world's largest toy drive. The first city was 2 days ago in Dallas, Texas. 10 cities over a 17-day period from the 5th to the 22nd. So Dallas, we went there, and I have a semi-truck donated from a guy named Sean Callaghy. Sean Callaghy committed to 119,000 toys. So one person, one donation from Sean Callaghy. However, there's obviously donators in every city. There's donators that do, directly to the charity called Trina's Kids Foundation. That's trinaskids.org is the website. There's people that donate directly on the website or via PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, wire transfer, Bitcoin. If you have a charity, make sure that you can accept funds in any different way, any different format. You don't want any friction if someone wants to donate to your charity in case you want to create a 501c3. So Sean Callaghy donated 119,000 toys across the country for these 10 cities. And then we're going to obviously have a similar amount donated from friends, strangers, social media followers, volunteers, locals, etc. Hoping to get bigger organizations and businesses to start doing that as well. So Sean decided to donate 119,000 toys. Last year, he donated 100,000 as part of my one-on-one coaching program. I think some of you know that the last 3 years, I've done one-on-one coaching. It's $100,000, but they get to choose, the members that want to do the one-on-one coaching get to choose a charity of their choice. There's 3 charity options. They get to choose between those 3 charities, whether it's for animals, whether it's for homeless, creating backpacks for the homeless, which is my Model Citizen Fund charity, or it's for the toy drive, which many of them have done, the donations to the toy drives. Some of them do it for the backpacks and some have done it for animals, but for the most part, the last 3 years, it's been raising $1 to $2 million a year for the toy drives. So in this instance, last year, Sean Callaghy already donated $100,000 to the charity. And then I went to his event in New Jersey, which is also coming up again, December 19th. And he waited outside in the 13-degree cold to surprise me with 3 U-Hauls of more toys. So picture this. Sean has 700 guests for his event inside, his staff, employees, doctors, lawyers, etc. He already donated 100,000 and he decided to wait outside in 13-degree weather. By the way, he's blind and he has a lot of things going on. He's got to run this event that's going on inside, and he decided to wait outside to surprise me with 3 U-Hauls of toys. You can actually see the video on my Instagram. And so this year, he wanted to go to a whole crazy another level and decided to donate this 119,000 toys. So we start off in Dallas, Texas. We have 24 semi-trucks, 5,000 toys per semi-truck from a company called World Tech Toys. Why does that matter? You want to get reliable partners. And so World Tech Toys, they do over $200 million in toys. They've been our partner for the last 12 years to help us supply the toys at deep, deep wholesale prices. Some of these toys are amazing. $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70 toys that we're getting for $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8. And so it's very, very efficient. If we were to go buy these at the stores, these same toys are $25, $15, some of them $40, $50, $60, etc. We're able to get a lot of these toys for $6, $4, $8, $1, $2, plus a lot of toys donated when they have excess inventory. So if you have a charity, getting partners, whether that's your venue, catering sponsors. For example, in Dallas, Texas, we had Everbowl. Everbowl is the acai bowl chain that I'm a part of. I actually just posted a video on my social media this morning about it. When I first invested money, time, and energy into Everbowl, you can look at everbowl.com. They had 13 locations in 2018. The video I just posted this morning, this Monday, was about that. Everbowl set up a booth at our toy drive in Dallas, Texas, to feed the 1,000 children and family members that showed up to the toy drive. So ecosystem, right? 2 different ecosystems, I'm aligning them together. I'm taking Everbowl, the restaurant chain I'm a part of. There was 13 locations, 2018. Now there's over 100 locations in 2025. So in 7 years, I went from 13 locations to over 100 locations. The video I posted was about the 11 locations in Dallas, Texas, and Iowa that are owned by the franchisee, Justin Sloan. So that's the video I posted. And he decided to set up a booth to help us feed these 1,000 children and family members during the toy drive in Dallas, Texas. A company called Stella Jets, a lady named Tia who's always helped us, her company Stella Jets used her Stella Jets hangar, her airport hangar, as the host venue. She hosted a charity gala, brought in Charlie Sheen, a singer named Mario, a rapper named Twista, different celebrities, influencers, to raise money a few days prior to the actual toy drive. So she threw a gala. Why does this matter? Again, it's about partnering. Finding good partners. If you have a charity or want to be involved in charity, we had a great partner, which was Stella Jets. She hosted a gala. She spent the money, time, and energy to host that gala, bring in these celebrities like Charlie Sheen and these rappers and performers, and get all these football players and donators and wealthy people in Dallas, Texas to show up, raise money for trinaskids.org, Trina's Kids Foundation. You see what I'm doing? Everything in my life is being tied in together. There are good partners and good friends that are now throwing galas. Everbowl, the restaurant chain that I'm a part of, that I've invested in, I've raised capital for and been a part of since 2018, set up a booth there. I'm tying in all the different parts of my world. I'm tying different ecosystems to help the greater good, which is those 1,000 children and family members that showed up to Dallas, Texas. We had so many extra toys because a lot of people started dropping off toys. Besides the 5,000 toys that World Tech Toys dropped off in a semi-truck, we had so many other toys from people in town that were showing up to drop off toys as well. So at the end of the day, after the 1,000 families got to pick out all their toys, we also bought bicycles. I left and went to Walmart and bought a bunch of bicycles. I got a U-Haul and bought a bunch of extra bicycles literally like an hour before the kids showed up because we found out there was more high school kids coming. So I physically went, just jumped in, put on my credit card, and bought a bunch more bicycles for the high school kids. Now, as the event is going on, we're getting photo and video content of this. Now, I want to say this. Some people have it in their minds that posting about charity is bad. Let me break that stupid stigma right this second. Similar to the whole point of the Money Mondays podcast, which is the stigma that it's rude to talk about money. No. The whole point is it's not rude to talk about money. It's rude to not talk about it. We need to discuss salaries. We need to discuss taxes and accounting, renting, leasing, bills, medical bills, saving, expenses, 401ks. There's so many things that we need our children and our friends and our employees to know about money. And so the whole point of this podcast is to break the stigma about talking about money, that money is not rude to talk about. So I'm going to break the next stigma, which is posting social media about charity. When you post about charity, not like, hey, look at me, but hey, look at this cause that I care about. Oh my God. The butterfly effect is proven because, like I said, 12 years ago, there were just 8 volunteers on the floor. Because we post about it on social media, because influencers show up, because local companies and friends and volunteers show up and post on social media, we've now grown it to stadiums and arenas, which I'm going to get into all the venues that we have. We've now grown it from a few thousand toys that we just buy out of our pockets to be able to get tens of thousands of toys. And as I mentioned, 120,000 toys just as our baseline for this year's world's largest toy drive. When we threw our Thanksgiving food drives every year, that Thanksgiving food drive has now, same thing, 1,000 people showing up to eat. That is because of the power of social media. When you post about charity that you care about, not pat yourself on the back, not look at me, I donated $500 or 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever the number is. Not look at me, pat on the back, but actually showcasing why you care about the charity. Where is the charity event? How can people help this children's hospital or senior citizens home or help cure Alzheimer's or leukemia or something? Showcasing what you care about or what someone in your family cares about, that is powerful. The butterfly effect is far greater than you know. There are toy drives happening all over the world because of our toy drive that we've heard about or don't even know about, and we've seen it or heard about it or don't know about it. That is called the butterfly effect. Because the fact that we are posting about charity, that is happening. I'll give you another example. During the shutdown in 2020, a guy named Jimmy Rex out of Salt Lake City created what's called the $100 Tipping Club. Jimmy and I started partnering up so that I could help make it even bigger of what he was doing and throwing in other cities as he was scaling it in Salt Lake City and then as he would travel. I started doing these $100 tipping clubs and co-hosting with him or hosting in cities by myself, We started also throwing $1,000 tipping clubs. Why does that matter? Because the fact that we posted on social media, hey, we're surprising this waitress at this restaurant with $1,700. We're giving the other $1,700 to the waiters, waitresses, and staff. So we raised $3,400 from the 34 people that showed up. Over 4,000 people that we know about. Over 4,000 times we've been tagged on social media of other tipping dinners happening around the world. That means there's probably tens of thousands of tipping dinners that happen that don't even know who Jimmy Rex is or don't even know who I am, that are doing it because they saw it on social media. That is the butterfly effect. That is why I post on social media about charities so much. That is why you should consider posting about charities that you care about, whether it's to help them with social media awareness, raising money, throwing an event, being a part of something. You posting on social media about a cause helps, and that is the butterfly effect. One last example. I did something called 2 years too long. I posted a video of me with trash bags of clothes in my closet, and I also posted a photo of it as well the same day. And it just said 2 years too long, meaning if you have had clothes in your closet over 2 years that you have not worn, obviously there's plenty of clothes you've worn 5, 6, 7, 8 years that you might still have, but you wear them. Any clothing items or accessories over 2 years that you have not worn, give it away. It's been too long. And you cannot rationalize with me that you're going to wear it on year 3. Those snow boots or snow jacket, you're not wearing on year 3. I pinky swear you're not doing it. That jacket, that sweater that you haven't worn in 2, 3, 4 years, you are not wearing it next year. I promise. Give it away. Why? Why does this matter? Why am I so passionate about it? Why is my voice inflecting like this? Because 2 years is too long. Anything more than 2 years, you're not wearing it. And by me posting that video and photo that day, over 4,500 people, very similar number to the tipping dinners, over 4,500 people tagged me just that week with the 2 years too long hashtag campaign. What does that mean? Probably tens of thousands of people, hopefully more, have now done the 2 years too long campaign and have no idea who I am because they saw Robert post about it, and then Jenny posted about it, and then Francis posted about it. And so they have no idea who Dan is, and that's fantastic. I don't care. I have no ego to this. I want the cause and effect. I want the fact that someone is receiving clothes in Milwaukee, in New Mexico, in New Jersey, etc., because of the 2 years too long campaign. Dan does not need a pat on the back. Dan wants people to create this butterfly effect all over the world, whether it's 2 years too long with clothing, whether it's Model Citizen Fund backpacks for the homeless with 150 emergency supply items inside, whether it's the $100 tipping club, the Thanksgiving food drives, the back to school day, the report card day, all the different charity events that we do through Trina's Kids Foundation or beyond. I want the butterfly effect, which leads to the cause and effect that more people that need something are getting it, whether that's money, time, or energy. All right, so let me walk you through on the world's largest toy drive. So Dallas, Texas happened 2 days ago. Now we're approaching December 9th, which is tomorrow, here in Tampa, Florida. We took over the Motor Enclave. Motor Enclave is a race car track, which is amazing. And the owner, Brad, was nice enough to set us up with this racetrack. I like to get partners or what I call a brand ambassador in each city. So Max Willett is the brand ambassador. Max Willett, his Instagram is maxed out. He's got like 400 or 500 employees, maybe even more in the insurance space. Max got his staff, his employees, his vendors and friends and partners in town to all rally together and already buy a ton of toys. And so, as I mentioned, a semi-truck of toys already arrived this morning. Max's crew, his staff, etc., have already bought a ton of toys. And then we have a bunch of local businessmen like Nick Friedman from College Hunks and all these type of guys that have cabinet companies in town, businesses, restaurant chains, etc. We have them, Justin Cab, he's got a big company out here. They're showing up tomorrow with toys from their staff, partners, employees, vendors, etc. So the 5,000 trucks on the semi-truck are my baseline. Some cities I do 10,000 or 20,000 10 or 20,000 toys as my baseline. So that we know that for sure a bunch of organizations, local homeless shelters and schools, local organizations are going to be able to come pick up this toys. So 5,000 is my baseline. And then the city, like someone like Max Willett and his staff, are also bringing toys. And then through social media, we're all posting about it for locals, followers, friends, etc., to bring toys as well. So tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this, on the 9th, Motor Enclave, boom. All these people are going to be there to drop off toys, and then we have the children come pick up the toys. I do this all in a same-day process to make it easy on the venue and easy on the local people in the city. So in the mornings, I set up everything. So there's all the toys are on display in sections for boys and girls, and then different age groups for, toddlers, middle school, high school, etc. So we set up these 6 different sections based on age groups and if they're boys or girls. We let the kids come in through, pick out as much as they can carry of toys, and then all the excess toys around 3 or 4 p.m., we have a bunch of the volunteers pack it up if there's any excess toys, and then we have other organizations show up with U-Hauls, Suburbans, vans, and trucks. And then from 3 p.m. to around 5 or 6 p.m., all those toys are efficiently removed to go to other charities, other organizations around the city. So in Tampa, that's all happening. On the 11th, we go to Atlanta for Aspire Tour. So Aspire Tour is taking place in Atlanta on the 11th. If you're listening to this and you want to go to aspiretour.com. You can use the free comp code ELEVATOR, or you can get yourself different tickets there. If you have friends in Atlanta, send them over because Aspire Tour obviously gets around 2,000 people on average, entrepreneurs, business owners. So Thursday the 11th. But Aspire Tour, obviously because I'm part of it, the convention center gave us a ballroom to set up the toy drive there. Do you see what I did again? I'm combining brands. The co-founders, Andrew Cordell and Eddie Wilson, co-founders of Aspire Tour. Eddie Wilson already has a charity that he's been doing for years that he travels around the world called Impact Others. And so Eddie's excited to do it because he loves charity. He literally flies around. He just went to India last week because he wants to support charity. And so Aspire Tour, Atlanta Convention Center, on the 11th, we are having semi-truck of toys being dropped off, all the locals bringing over toys, and we already have 2,000 children that are going to get receiving these toys through a guy named Nehemiah Davis, or Neo is his nickname. Same way that we did in Dallas, over 1,000 children showed up, and over 2,000 kids received those toys from Richardson High School. In Atlanta, Neo is going to have those 2,000 kids receive this semi-truck of toys plus all the donated toys. Then we go on the 13th to BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. We partnered with a TV show called Reality Games, which is a live stream through Nikki Gathright. Again, see what I did? An influencer agency that Nikki Gathright owns has a TV show that's going to be live streaming called Reality Games. He has all these influencers coming and posting. And so we're getting, for the toy drive, a bunch of free marketing. And the influencers are going to get to make great content doing something that's charitable and helping the kids. BMO Stadium is a humongous venue and a great brand alignment for Trina's Kids Foundation and the world's largest toy drive. Then, so that's December 13th. December 15th, we go to Raiders Stadium to parking lots G and H. Raiders Stadium, another brand alignment. Allegiant is one of the most gorgeous stadiums in the world, right? Multi-billion dollar stadium that looks kind of like Darth Vader. On the 15th, the same night, at the Mandalay Bay, there's a store called Card Vault that Tom Brady co-owns. Tom Brady is opening his store that night. His partners are Randy Greenstein and Chris and that whole crew from Card Vault. Well, Randy Greenstein helped us get Raiders Stadium as the venue because it's right next to Mandalay Bay and because he's friends with the people there at the Raiders Stadium. But Randy also owns over 20 restaurants and nightclubs in Boston. So he gave us what's called Big Night Live in Boston. That's his venue that he owns. He owns the restaurants and nightclubs at the Encore Casino. And so the gentleman that owns restaurants and nightclubs in Boston helped us get Raider Stadium the same night that he's busy with his car store opening at the Mandalay Bay. Do you see what's happening again? I'm utilizing networks and connections, utilizing relationships, tying them all together. Because Randy Greenstein was already helping us with Big Night Live, and he was already going to be in Las Vegas for his card store opening, he brought up the Raider Stadium, bada bing, bada boom. We've just leveled up the brand. Think about it. 12 years ago, I was on the floor with 8 volunteers, just wrapping toys on the floor. Now, Raider Stadium. Big Night Live, which is right next door to the Boston TD Garden Arena where the Celtics play. BMO Stadium 2 days prior on the 13th. A racetrack today in Tampa, Florida. Atlanta Convention Center Thursday the 11th. But wait, there's more. So the 15th is Raider Stadium. That'll be there all day in the afternoon. Parking lots G&H if you want to come by or send people over to donate toys. On the 17th, we go to Salt Lake City with Jimmy Rex. I mentioned Jimmy Rex earlier of creating the $100 tipping club. He also has been hosting the last few years the toy drive at his warehouse there. He bought 2 semi-trucks of toys along with the semi-truck that we contributed from Sean Callaghan's donation. So that's 3 semi-trucks of toys, 15,000 toys going to Salt Lake City on December 17th. That same night, Vince Ritchie and I are teleporting to Boston because on the 18th, we have Big Night Live. So Boston is the 18th at Big Night Live if you want to send anyone over there to drop off toys. That same night, again, we're jumping on a train or plane or automobile, whatever we have to do to get to New Jersey because on the 19th, Sean Callaghan is hosting his gala where he'll be raising even more capital for the toy drives and having people bring toys for the toy drive, which is taking place at the American Dream Mall, December 21st. So Sunday, December 21st, American Dream Mall, which is an amazing venue, humongous venue, gorgeous multi-billion-dollar mall. We are hosting right there in the main lobby, right there in the foyer, all day. You're going to see a ton of kids there at the American Dream Mall with multiple semi-trucks of toys that are going there. We're going to try to build 10 or 20,000 of those toys right there in that lobby section and more if we're allowed to, and just take over the whole area and make those kids' day. Also, Tom Brady happens to have a card store there, and so they're going to be lining up right in front of his Card Vault store. My stores are called Cards and Coffee. So Tom Brady has Card Vault. I have what's called Cards and Coffee. Obviously, a lot of you guys know that already. Cards and Coffee, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V is the one that named Cards and Coffee. 5 years ago, I opened my first store in October 2020. If you're ever in Los Angeles, you can see the stores there in Hollywood. We also have a store in Calabasas, or you can go online. We sell live online on eBay, on Instagram, on Whatnot, etc., and on TikTok. And that's called The Coffee Breakers. So if you ever want to buy cards online live, go to The Coffee Breakers. Okay, so right in front of Tom Brady's store at Card Vault in New Jersey, American Dream Mall, the line will start for hundreds of kids, hopefully thousands of kids, depending on how many show up, to pick up those toys. And then we have organizations. There's a hospital that we're donating 6,000 toys to. There's a church organization we're donating 2,000 toys to. All that will be taking place and happening right after, in the afternoon, at that event at the American Dream Mall, December 21st. And then, that same night, we teleport to Miami. We're going to finish it off on the 22nd in Miami at the Kaseya Center. Kaseya Center is better known as the Miami Heat Arena. Think about the venues that we're getting. Where 12 years ago, there's 8 of us on the floor, and now we're ending off at the Miami Heat Arena. Over 1,000 children are coming. We did this there last year, the same venue, the same Miami Heat Arena last year. We had 1,000 kids get to go on the floor of the basketball court that they watch on television. Think about this for them. I get emotional, like I have the pictures and videos if you watch from last year, where these kids get to see their heroes on television. They grow up watching the Miami Heat, and now they get to share the same court. And by the way, most of the NBA team, most of the Miami Heat showed up last year. The mayor of Miami showed up. They're getting to go onto the court. These children are going to the court to pick out their toys, as many toys that they can carry, while Bam and all these major players are right there. 6 foot, 7 foot, 7 foot 2 inch players are right there on the court with them as they're picking out their toys. That is magical. That is a core memory for these children. And if you see it, you'll understand my passion why I keep doing these toy drives. Why do I fly around to 10 cities in 17 days? Because once you see those children's faces, when you see those moms' relief and the parents' relief getting those toys and not having those expenses, it's just, I'm addicted to it. I will always do these toy drives. That's my passion for it. That's why I'm constantly now, if you see and hear me talk about it, I want everyone's support, whether it's financially, emotionally, social media, volunteer in person. Come to these events. By the way, my eyes are closed. I'm rattling off all these cities and dates right now to you. My eyes are closed. I have been spending morning, noon, and night envisioning every detail. And so if you can help in any city, whether you can be there in person or you can send your friends, family, or followers, let me say the lineup one more time, and I'm going to wrap up a little bit. So here, right now, December 9th in Tampa. December 11th, Atlanta Convention Center. It's called the Gas South Convention Center with Aspire Tour. December 13th, BMO Stadium. By the way, the hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The main time for volunteers is between 10 a.m. and lunchtime. The main time to drop off toys is between 10 a.m. and lunchtime. As we usually have children and the organizations show up around lunchtime from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And then we have organizations pick up the remainder of the toys between around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock if you have organizations to pick up toys. And then we're done by 5, 6 p.m. where you have to be cleaned up and out of those venues. So the 9th in Tampa, the 11th Atlanta and at the Atlanta Convention Center. The 13th at BMO Stadium. The 15th at Raiders Stadium. The 17th with Jimmy Rex. You can find him on Mr. Jimmy Rex on social media. Then from there, where do we go from there? We do Jimmy Rex on the 17th. We go to Boston to TD Garden on the 18th. We go to New Jersey on the 19th. American Dream Mall on the 21st. And the Miami Heat Arena on the 22nd. You can visit largesttoydrive.com. You can donate or support at trinaskids.org. If you can help with press, media, influencers, athletes, friends, volunteers, business people, if you know toy stores, if you know companies, anything you can do to help, you can hear my passion for it. If you don't have the money for it, the time and energy is fantastic. Showing up and volunteering is fantastic. Volunteering your friends, your children, the people around you, your staff, get them to be a part of it because it changes their life. It changes their outlook. When they see those children come out there onto these stadiums, the parking lots, the fields, the NBA courts, etc., they will literally have an emotional change. Their minds will change when they see it. They will feel a different passion and understanding. That's why we literally have people bringing their kids to give out toys to understand the difference, especially if they are wealthier and always just receiving things. It helps for them to have a different outlook and aspect. All right, so let me tie this into a bow and wrap this up for you. As you guys know, I always keep these podcasts to under 40 minutes because the average workout is 45 minutes. The average commute to work is 45 minutes. So these episodes are typically under 40 minutes for your listening pleasure. Also, I've been running this for 2.5 years ad-free. I did take a sponsorship deal, as you guys have been hearing recently this month, with a company called Go High Level. Again, I'm not sitting here giving out discount codes for it or affiliate codes for it. Go High Level is a company that I physically use nonstop. My organization uses it. My staff uses it. My whole team, Ray, Devin, Joe, all the guys that are, Shannon, everyone in my company behind the scenes, they're utilizing Go High Level for all of my stuff. My coaching, my courses, online programs, everything that I'm doing behind the scenes, we utilize Go High Level. So that's why you hear me talk about it, because I'm actually working with them so deeply for years. I spoke at the Go High Level Summit last year at their main event. I am deeply a part of it. Okay, why does all this matter? Why do I always talk about how to make money, how to invest money, how to give it away to charity? Because I want the butterfly effect. I want someone that has a rich uncle, rich grandfather, rich grandma, rich mom, or themselves be rich, or they don't even have to be rich, just have some money or some passion, some time, some energy to do more charity work. Imagine that I have millions and millions and millions of people listening to this podcast. Imagine if I can inspire any percentage of them to do some charity work, whether it's donating money, time, or energy. And if they don't have the money, what if I can inspire them to say, hey, mom, hey, dad, hey, uncle, aunt, grandmother, grandfather, hey, boss. What if your boss has 250 employee company doing 40 million revenue? What if you got them to do some charity? I'm not saying to donate to mine. What if they want to donate to any type of charity? What if they want to have all of your staff go feed the homeless and then they donate 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand? What if I can inspire hundreds of people or thousands of people, tens of thousands, hopefully hundreds of thousands of people to go do more charity work? whether that's giving out their clothes from their closet, doing $100 tipping dinners in their local town or when they're traveling, going and feeding the homeless, spending time, literally just showing up to a senior citizen home. Obviously, you have to sign in. I'm not saying just show up. Go sign up to spend time at a senior citizen home or a children's hospital, donating money to leukemia and Alzheimer's and breast cancer. Finding the things, if I can inspire people to take charity more seriously, there's tax benefits to it if you're donating money. There's write-offs to it if you're a company or an individual. There's so much that can be done through charity, and I want to remove the stigma. I want to make charity cool again. I want people to actively do charity, talk about it, especially during the holiday season right now, but literally every day of the year. Listen, I could go on and on for hours and hours about what needs to happen in foreign countries, what needs to happen in homeless shelters, what needs to happen with food, water, shelter. This is my most passionate subject. This is the reason I am who I am. This is why I work so hard. It's because ultimately, I will only focus on philanthropy. I am trying to prove to the world and to myself that I can do charity and philanthropy efficiently. In the first decade, I didn't really raise money. I just did it myself. I'm trying to showcase to like an Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, wealthy companies, Walmart, Target, etc., that I can efficiently do the toy drive in 10 cities to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of toys efficiently just with my team. Imagine if major corporations like Walmart and Costco and Target or major donors like an Elon Musk or a Bezos or a Mr. Beast, etc., started supporting this organization. Right now, it's just me and my staff, me and my team, my volunteers, organizing this through group chats, staff, friends, and volunteers. Imagine what happens on year 13, 14, year 15, 16, 17 of this charity, of Trina's Kids Foundation, if I can prove to the world how efficiently and how passionate we are about it. And that's what I'm doing in real life. When I talk about companies building in public, I'm doing that with my charity work. I'm building in public on the charity to show people that I went from, me and Vince had 1 or 2 really cool venues last year with Miami Heat Arena type venues. And now this year, Atlanta Convention Center, the racetrack today, the Motor Enclave, the BMO Stadium, the Raiders Stadium, Miami Heat Arena, American Dream Mall. Like, these are major venues. More than half of our venues are big format venues. And so I'm really trying to level this up, and we're proving it now that we did for the 12th year. What happens on 13, 14, 15, 16 as we get bigger names, the Tony Robbins in the world, the Walmarts of the world, etc., getting them to step in, getting them to be partners or donators, getting them to use their social media power, their email list, etc. So hopefully you heard the passion in my voice. Hopefully there are charity efforts that you have a passion for. Obviously, if you can help Model Citizen Fund, that's modelcitizenfund.com or modelcitizenfund.org, trinaskids.org. If you want to help the charities that I'm working on, fantastic. If you can show up to these venues, if you can send your friends, family, and followers to these venues for the toy drives, that is fantastic. But ultimately, I want you to find for yourself the charity that you care about. What are you passionate about? What is your wife, husband, friends, children, parents, what were they impacted by? If someone had something that impacted them in their life, maybe that's a charity that you get behind. If something happened in your direct life or someone super close to you, I promise you, you will have deep passion, and you need some passion behind this because it takes time. You might have to invite 100 people to get 25 to show up. You might have to text or call 100 people or staff members or volunteers or vendors or employees to support the charity you care about to get 16 of them to actually donate or show up. And that's okay. It will compound over time. The same way I talk about 8 volunteers my first year and 21 the second year, look at us now in 10 cities, in stadiums and arenas, etc. If you find something that you care about, please get your children involved, your parents involved, your siblings involved, your coworkers, your investors, your friends, your partners, your vendors, and your clients. Get them involved in charity. And ultimately, we can make the world a better place by pushing this along. I appreciate you guys for commenting, subscribing, liking to the Money Mondays. You've been keeping us on the top of the charts, like really high up on the charts, especially the last 3 or 4 months. We've been in the top 50, sometimes in the top 30. We hit number 26 and number 29 for a week straight. Like, you helping, commenting, subscribing, posting, resharing these stories, it's truly helpful for the Money Mondays. Go to themoneymondays.com. I host every Monday a weekly call, every Monday at 4 p.m. PST, where I'm actually teaching every Monday, or I have a high-level person teaching on there every Monday at 4 o'clock. We've never missed it in 2.5 years. So I appreciate you guys listening to the Money Mondays. We'll see you guys next week here on themoneymondays.com.